I now give the floor to Grand Chancellor Riccardo Paterno.
Mr. President, Head of State and Ministers, Excellencies and distinguished colleagues, please allow me to thank the President of the Republic of Albania and the Republic's Ambassador to the United Nations for inviting the Sovereign Order of Malta to contribute to this open debate on peaceful resolution to conflict in Ukraine. The peace and security of Ukraine is of concern to us, as it touches not only on the peace and the security of its 43 million citizens, but also on the security of Europe and, by extension, the world. The Sovereign Order of Malta has enjoyed diplomatic relations with Ukraine for the last 15 years. But our involvement and support for the Ukrainian people runs far deeper and stretches back over a quarter of a century. During this period, we have provided medical and humanitarian assistance to the people of Ukraine long before the current hostilities. In April on this year, the Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal, in his meeting in Rome with the Grand Master and the Grand Chancellor of the Order of Malta, expressed deep gratitude from his country for the work of the Order in Ukraine. His words were confirmed this week when the Ukrainian ambassador to the Order of Malta, His Excellency Ambassador Andriy Yurash, issued a joint press release with myself, attesting to the fact that the contribution to Ukraine by the Order of Malta represent the most extensive humanitarian operation undertaken by the Order of Malta since the Second World War. Within the framework of international humanitarian assistance, tens of thousands of volunteers and aid workers from the bodies of the Order of Malta have populated borders and checkpoints neighboring Ukraine since hostilities began, offering aid and comfort. Many millions of refugees have had a warm embrace from foreign neighbors who have set aside cultural difference to serve a common humanity in need. Yet in Ukraine itself, even this week, the carnage and destruction continues. Our Catholic confrere, Caritas Spes, only this week suffered the destruction of an aid warehouse in Lviv, containing 300 tons of aid, the most recent of several attacks on their work, and a sad continuation of last year's attack in Mariupol, which resulted in the death of 2 aid workers. Yesterday, OHCHR humanitarian coordinator for Ukraine, Dennis Brown, condemned in the strongest terms the attack in Lviv. She reiterated concern about the impact of such attack on humanitarian works, facilities and assets which are protected under international humanitarian law. Excellencies, there is no easy solution to this conflict, but peace remains the only way out of this tragic plight. We are aware that the process could be long, difficult and painful, but there is no alternative if we want to halt as soon as possible the massive human suffering and the war's negative worldwide economic and social repercussions. We grieve over the infinite waste of resources that is a consequence of war. Government bodies and independent analysts estimate conservatively that by the end of 2023, the world economy will have spent 224 billion on this conflict, enough to fund UNICEF for the next 30 plus years. In the brave new world of the 21st centuries, there is no such thing as a regional or contained war. There will be implications that go beyond locality and which reveal the complex interdependence that are a consequence of the global context in which we operate. A case in point in the issue of global food security, rising price and the damage caused by shortage in developing nations, particularly Africa. These are greatly exacerbated by this war. The bigger and stronger a world power, the more significant is the responsibility it has, not only for its own citizens, but also for those who live outside their borders, yet who rely on it for service and product and for neighborly support. Likewise, in the community of nations, might is not always right, and strong and powerful peers must exert a great influence and take more responsibility in reining in the behavior of those that transgress the norms of the UN Charter and the rules-based world that it enshrines. They should not subvert or ignore it for their own ends. Mr. President, allow me to conclude with a quotation from Pope John 21st encyclical Pacem in Terra. Peace will be but an empty sounding word unless it is founded on order. The order of truth, built according to justice, vivified and integrated by charity and put into practice in freedom. Surely, this is a formula which respects and encourages the UN Charter, and one which we should all subscribe to if the suffering of the Ukrainian people is not in vain. Thank you, Mr. President.